Hey everyone, you are listening to, this should be episode 13. Ooh, 13 of AP Marvel. I'm Chris Compendio, I'm here with Izzy Show.
Hey!
What's up, Izzy?
It's pretty good.
And I'm here with, oh yeah, sorry, I asked, it was like a rhetorical, like, how are you, and then I was like, yep, I'm gonna move on, but, tell me how you are today.
I'm, alright, it is pretty, we are recording this at 10:45 p.m. The time affectionately referred to as ass o'clock.
Yes, that's how you put it in the chat, right?
Yep.
Yeah, not with here tonight is Anthony, Anthony Paone. Funny story, we have been trying to get this, episode, I won't say what the subject is in case we still want to use it at some point, but, we've had 3 attempts of, myself, Izzy, and Anthony trying to record this damn episode, and every time it falls through, and because of some circumstances, we're gonna say, see you later to Izzy for, like, we're recording this the 7th of August, and Izzy will pretty much be incapacitated for most of August due to some commitments that she has. Is that correct, Izzy?
Yeah, some commitments at Carnegie Mellon, just with, like...
What's that? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, just commitments at Carnegie Mellon. C at CM.
Yep.
That was a bad CMU joke.
Yeah, that's not gonna register with this audience, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I have, like, sort of an on-campus job, and that'll take up, like, 2 weeks, and then I also start being a student, and so just adjusting to that, which will be,
I don't know what that is either.
Being a student?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been an adult for too long already. You don't understand.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so, is just gonna be busy. Is she still with us? But, I think this is our last chance for a bit, to have some time with her. So, I guess what I wanted to do, during this time, very hastily was, let's have the podcast about the podcast, shall we? Since, we've reached 13 episodes, we've been doing this for a while. I won't say their name, but I had someone who, is associated with Marvel News Desk, email me privately and was like, hey, I'm really interested in hearing about this class that you taught about Marvel, the STUCO, as we've been called, Student College, being a program at Carnegie Mellon in which, students can basically teach classes of their, own, choosing, for credit. Obviously we didn't get paid or anything. Instead, we were given, 3 units for each semester, with a normal class at CMU being, like, 9 units?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and, I started this STUCO called Marvel Film Media Studies. I brought Anthony along with me, my second semester teaching it. He was a student during my first semester doing it. I then graduated, Anthony took over, took Thomas Rasmussen with him, who was also a student in my first semester. Anthony dropped out, and I guess brought you on, right, Izzy?
Yeah, that's right. I took, I think, the 3rd class ever taken, my freshman fall. Pretty much loved it. And then when Anthony left the STUCO, Thomas emailed me saying, hey, Thomas emailed me saying, hey, like, Anthony's not returning to STUCO, do you want to apply to be a teacher? I answered a couple questions, and out of everyone, Thomas picked me, and here I am. I've been teaching, this will be my 4th semester teaching the class, which is really weird.
Longer than me, and I'm the one who started this damn thing. We were talking about this before we started recording.
Yeah, I was I was talking with Thomas, I think, during just while we were having lunch one day, and he was like, and he had told me, like, yeah, like, you officially taught this class more than, like, Chris, and I'm like, wow. Damn.
Right. Yeah. You're gonna be a junior, correct?
Yes, I will be a junior.
In college? Okay.
Yes, I will.
My God, you're getting so old now. Because, like, we didn't overlap in our time at Carnegie Mellon. Like after I graduated, that's when you came in.
Yeah.
So we became friends solely through the shared Marvel experience, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, um, did you take any other did you take the Stuco in your first semester at Carnegie Mellon?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and so you didn't take any other Stuco besides that.
No. And technically I can't anymore. When you teach, you
Oh, I
also
guess
get 3 credits
so.
of teaching, and you can only take, quote unquote, like take or teach 3 Stucos. And so I think after,
You get a max of 9 units from doing Stucos, either teaching or taking them.
yeah, and I think this is the first semester where, and so like you can still keep teaching, but like it won't go towards anything. Like at this point, like now it's an extracurricular for me, which is like honestly not
Yeah,
too
yeah,
bad. And like
yeah.
yeah, like everyone
You're
has
helping other students get credit.
oh yeah, everyone
Hmm.
everyone has like that one college activity that they're like, oh my god, like I did this, I never thought I'd do it. And for me that was definitely teaching about Marvel, or
Yeah.
just teaching in general.
Uh-huh.
um but it's like
Right.
provided me with so much. Technically Chris and I are internet friends, I guess you could sort of say. We have this chat
We've
with
met up in
all the
person several
teachers.
times.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've
Uh-huh.
been in person, obviously, but like, it was definitely
Yeah.
mostly like online. Like, we had like this chat with all, as of now, 6 Stuco teachers, gone through many name incarnations and many nickname incarnations that are always a joy to just
Yeah.
have in our lives. Right now, we're
Yeah,
excellent
that's
security
kind of like
consultants.
our. Yeah, that was my doing because it was Infinity War support group before that. Um, and before that, I think you named it the Ancestral Plane. So it's
Because
just like whatever name just came out recently.
it literally is the ancestral plane, because it's like, I mean,
Yeah,
right now it's like me talking to like all of y'all who at this point have graduated, like all my other, and then my 2 other
our
Stuco teachers.
ancestors. Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah,
is literally, this chat is literally the ancestral plane. Like I would have made it permanent
yeah.
if
Pretty
Infinity
much.
War support group wasn't so necessary.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, listeners can probably tell right now, this episode is not really gonna have a lot of structure. It won't have the same type of organization that we usually do. If you've heard any slurping noises, that's because I'm drinking a beer right now. But yeah, I just cracked a cold one. It's been a stressful
with
day. It's been a stressful time. San Anthony Payon your love at the Pizza Taco. So I wanted to rewind a little bit since we were. I asked you if you take any other Stucos. Um, the first Stuco I ever took in Carnegie Mellon was during my first semester. It was freshman year. It was the Stuco taught by this gentleman by the name of Luke Davis. He was the head of CMU TV, which I guess is still around. I mean, they mostly do like Buggy, and which is like this weird tradition that CMU has, and um, I guess they do the Lunar Gala, which is like this kind of runway
yeah.
fashion show that we
Hmm.
do. So they film events like that. But Luke Davis basically gave this class the basics on video production, which I thought was pretty cool. The one thing I remember that I've taken with me for the rest of my life since then was how to countercoil wires. Which is something that has taken me, yeah, it like through the years, like doing Scotch and Soda and like the theater troupe and having to countercoil wires and whatnot. It's been a very important life lesson.
Yes.
After that, I took a class called Game Criticism. At the time, a gentleman by the name of oh dear lord, his face is in his image is in my head. I forget his name at the moment. It'll come back to me, but it was a very good class about how to basically critique video games, how to look at different facets through it. Without talking about specific games, talking about the concept of criticism, which I really appreciated. And I think at that point, I was just kind of inspired to start my own thing. The thing is that Marvel Film and Media Studies was the second Stuco I've ever taught. Did you know that, Izzy?
Really? What was the first one like?
Yeah,
Was like
plot twist.
a co was like a co was the first was your first one like a sort of like a co thing or like what was it?
So it's I have this friend named Luis Ball, and he and I shared a love for film, just film in general, just watching film, and kind of obsessing about very specific directors. So what we did was we had a class that basically covered specific film directors like Wes Anderson, Quentin Tarantino, Edgar Wright, very auteuristic directors, and we would spend one class watching a movie from one of them, and then the next class would be us bringing film cameras and like, okay, make your own short film, but like in the style of Edgar Wright or in the style of Wes Anderson, etc. And it was a fun little thing we had for 2 non-consecutive semesters. We had a lot of dropouts, obviously. We had a lot of people who were like, oh, this isn't exactly what I signed up for, or I can't really commit the time to this. And we had always had like a ragtag crew of like 6 people during each semester. And it just kind of faltered. I mean, I didn't think it was a sustainable idea. So the next semester, I don't know how I got the idea. It must have just been from my like Wikipedia binges because I do that a lot, but I just kind of got fascinated in figuring out who made these damn Marvel movies. Kind of coming out of this oh, look at all these auteurs like Edgar Wright and Wes Anderson and Paul Thomas Anderson, Alfonso Cuarón, etc., and just like seeing all of their respective through lines throughout all their films. And I was like, who the hell made these Marvel movies? And I guess I just kind of jumped into it through the internet, and what I found was intriguing enough that like I, during some late night, some college late night where I was supposed to be doing something else, I just like made a rough draft of a syllabus, and I just like sent it to the Stuco committee. I was like, hey, what do you think of this? And they liked it enough that I had to do another interview, and it just became a thing. It was just me teaching that first semester. So I had I think it was a max of 30 students, and I want to say I even like got to a wait list at some point.
Nice.
I remember that first class very distinctly. A lot of faces I didn't know, even though these were technically like my peers. They were like mostly the same age as me. I was at my first semester senior year. Anthony was there, Thomas was there. I did not know Thomas yet. A couple other people that I knew were there, but it was mostly new faces, and I just started the class. I just started introducing the class, talking about what we're going to talk about, and then this one dude interrupts me. He raises his hand. He says, "Wait, who are you?" And I was like floored. I was like, "Oh wait, yeah, I should probably like say who I am. I should probably tell them what my credentials are. What makes me qualified to talk about this."
Mm-hmm.
So that's why anyone who takes this class now, I think there was like a "Who are we?" slide at the beginning. Is that still the case, Izzy?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely like
Yeah.
it gets like pretty fun and like it gets like pretty fun and like kitschy, I guess. I remember I think when I took it with Anthony and Thomas, I think it was like, yeah, it was something. It went along like how for example, like Anthony and Thomas, like they like little facts about themselves, and they had like little cute little cute factoids about themselves. They had like little matching things. Like I think Anthony's was like something like something that like loves Thomas like eats Chipotle or something like eats Chipotle or something like that.
Oh yeah, that sounds
and
right.
then like
That sounds on brand with Anthony.
And then Thomas would play off like being like loves Chipotle like eats Anthony or something like that. Like, or it was like some matching thing. I had to look it up.
Yeah, the classic comedy duo of Anthony and Thomas.
Yeah.
God help us all.
Oh my! I remember.
So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I remember like this is sort of give an example of that class coming to. So when I took the class in fall 2016, and it was like our
Mm-hmm.
classes are on Tuesday nights at like 6:30, which meant that I had class on election day of 2016.
Oh, yeah, we've had that problem too. We had I don't remember who. I think it's a guy who eventually left to I think he went to NYU for theater after that, and I was really happy for him, but sad to see him go. But he was like he thought he missed the poll time. Like he walked into a class and he thought he missed the polls already. It was like, oh yeah, I missed it. And it's like and I was like, no, they're still open for like 30 minutes. And then he just kind of looks at us. He runs out of the classroom. And then he just kind of like stumbles back in the middle. It was great, but did you have a similar problem on election
No, I
day?
mentioned.
Because that was
I
the
mentioned.
election, right?
Yeah, like I mentioned it because it's the election, and so I remember at the start,
Mm-hmm.
like we were all like keeping track of like I guess how Hillary and
Oh
Trump were
no!
doing,
Oh god!
and then after
Yeah.
class, like we just see. I think Trump had not won Ohio yet, but I think he won like New Mexico or some like swing state, and like Anthony
Right.
just like and
Yeah.
like again like look Pittsburgh like Carnegie Mellon's like pretty liberal like none of us wanted. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure none of us wanted this. And Anthony screams like, "It was supposed to be a meme," and that's the most distinctive
Yeah.
thing I
Yeah.
remember. And funny enough, we were covering Age of Ultron, one of Marvel's most controversial films, before all this shit
Right.
happened.
Yeah.
So it was like a
That's
funny
so
pairing.
interesting.
Yeah.
I would not have wanted to been in the room with Anthony Paone of all people when Donald Trump won the presidential election. That would have been
Ah,
maddening.
that would have been pretty
Um,
maddening.
yeah, yeah, but we had some good times too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when I was teaching the class, the biggest meme that came out was when I was teaching the class the basics of it. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. If you weren't even there and you know what I'm talking about.
Because we have a picture of it in the presentation to tell people not to do this.
Yeah, yeah. So I was teaching them the efficiency and simplicity and the basicness of Thor's character arc in the first Thor movie, directed by Kenneth Branagh. And I made like an actual slideshow. Well, I mean, it was more like they
A
weren't pictures; they were
lecture.
just embedded YouTube videos. But they were, it was in the shape of an arc of the three different stages that Thor went through in that movie. He's angry, he's cocky, and he gets cast out. Then he tries to prove himself by lifting the hammer at the shield outpost, and that doesn't work out because he's not worthy. And then he redeems himself. He becomes the hero he was meant to be. And then I won't say who said it, but they basically said, "Oh, so you mean because I was drawing the arc on the chalkboard. Thor mad, Thor sad, Thor
Thor
glad."
glad.
Yeah,
Ugh.
and everyone cracked up, and I was like, "Oh God, that works so well," but I hate it at the same time. And I remember because we had like short quizzes at the end of every class, like online, and they were all about 2 questions long, and they're totally obvious if you actually were at the lecture or just look at the goddamn slideshow. And one of them was like, describe Thor's arc, and I shouted at the class before they left, do not write Thor mad, Thor sad, Thor glad. So that's the biggest running joke that came out of that. Like, apparently that's become a staple even after I'm gone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
Like someone did
yeah,
it someone did it for like not Thor, and I'm like, no, like stop this. Like I don't remember what it was. I don't know if it was for
yeah,
like a mad, sad, glad thing. But, like someone had pointed something out,
yeah,
and I think when Thomas first described like the moment to me, like he just like went into like like I had like a realization moment, and like once and was nearly like curled up like on a ball on the floor, be like, oh my god, and like I was at
Oh,
that point.
of course.
I was at that point one day. It's like just when you've like had enough or something like that. But like I have definitely like it's definitely
Yep.
carried on over the years. People don't like nail it as much, but then when you tell it to them, they're like, "What?" And then it just becomes a thing.
I think the thing that always blew people's minds was trying to explain to people why the Russos were chosen to direct The Winter Soldier.
Oh my god, that's still it made it a lot easier, but I remember it like it's still semi-challenging to do. Like the first semester.
I guess. I mean,
yeah.
I thought it was gonna be kind of obvious. I thought someone in the room would get it, but I was met with complete silence before I described it to them. I asked them like, "Hey, so here are all these parodies of action movies that they have done. Can you guess why they were chosen to direct an action movie?" And they were all just staring at me like morons, and they were all just like, I don't know. And then I was like, it's because they know how to reverse engineer action movies. If they know how to make fun of action movies, surely they know the elements that makes a good action movie. And everyone just simultaneously just went, oh, like it wasn't the most obvious thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I know like Anthony still like describes it as like a mind-blowing moment to me whenever that gets mentioned. I mean I mentioned in the James Gunn episode just how floored people were when I showed them that Romeo and Juliet trailer.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wonder what the reaction to that's gonna be now.
Oh Jesus! Well, I'll let you know.
Yeah, right.
I'll let you know.
Yeah,
because I'll be there.
Yeah.
We restructured our syllabus recently, and pretty much like literally the year after Thomas left, the syllabus like the year after the semester after my first semester teaching, the syllabus has been like a mind fuck, and I think we got it down to a level where it's like manageable now, like for when I'm not teaching anymore and like Erin sort of takes over, and it's like easier. It's just like easier for her to manage and like for her to like arrange.
Yeah. So we should describe the predicament.
Oh yeah.
So I had it easy. Here's the thing.
So easy. Oh my god.
Yes. So when I started this Suko, I had I made a table of all of the dates for this class. They were all Tuesday nights, and it was like the perfect number of classes that I needed. The only one that I had to double up, like I had so much space to have a separate class on the ABC shows and a separate class on the Netflix shows. The only one where I had to stack them was Iron Man and Iron Man 2, but I thought that made sense because they were both Jon Favreau movies. So I had like Coaster Introduction. Next week I would have like the Iron Mans, next week the Hulk, and then it will just go in like the order of release, discounting the whole Hulk Iron Man thing. Finally concluding with a class conclusion class. And of course we would miss one class for Thanksgiving break. So I didn't have too many problems. I didn't really have to add much the next semester because it was just TV shows, so I just kind of like tacked that onto those TV show classes. However, Izzy, the thing is, I want to say we ended on Ant-Man during my time.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And here's the thing about Marvel Studios: they just kept making more movies.
Just kept going,
and you had the same number of weeks that I did.
Yeah.
So you had to constantly condense the information.
Yep.
Which I guess kind of makes, because there were some classes that I had, like the Cap 1 class, the first Avenger class. We went under time, I remember.
Yeah.
There were some classes where it went under time, so I guess that isn't too hard. But like some classes, like I think Winter Soldier went over. I think
Guardians. Would
one
Guardians
or
go
both of
over?
the Avengers ones went over. Probably I don't recall. But it didn't help that we had student presentations. So the quote unquote midterm that I had was it was a partner project, and you basically had to do a presentation on a separate shared universe that was not the MCU. So people did X-Men, people did DC, people did Harry Potter, sorry, the Wizarding World. Um
I did that.
and you had some creative ones. You had Oh yeah, nice. Um there were some creative ones like
One Piece was a thing.
oh no, wait, that I'll talk about One Piece in a bit. So we had two people did the Tarantino films, and they made an argument of them being a shared universe, which I thought was really clever. Um, we had someone do the Pixar movies with using the Pixar theory that they were all shared universe. Um, the One Piece presentation, however, during my tenure, during my first semester, was not very good. I think I said these were supposed to be roughly 5 to 10 minutes long, and they would always be in the beginning of class. Um, this went on for I think 20 minutes,
What?
describing the entirety of One Piece lore. All of these characters I did not know. I just kind of kept making this motion, like the wrap it up motion, and the most embarrassing part was that the Stuco committee, they usually send someone to audit the class. So it was like, oh, we're
Oh
gonna like show them how unique this
no!
class is. And then this dude is just sitting there just watching this fucking One Piece presentation for 20 minutes. And they
Oh
only stay for like 15 minutes. So then he left in the middle of the One Piece presentation. It's like, he didn't even get to see any of the Marvel stuff. And it's like,
no! Ugh.
ah. Fun fact. Again, I will not say names. But so these Stucos are pass fail. And the constant rules of the Stucos is that 3 unexcused absences and or not doing a midterm and final for the Stuco class will result in an automatic fail. Did you know that I failed a
I
student in
also.
my first semester
Oh,
teaching Marvel Film and Media
I
Studies?
also failed a student last semester, but I didn't know it was your first. I failed
Wow,
two students
really?
last semester and then
That's
sophomore fall.
amazing.
Yeah. Did you say depressing?
Was it solely for absences?
Um,
Wait, was it just for absences?
yeah, pretty much because one person like, so this person was graduating, so like he could like, I mean, I sort of understood
Mm-hmm.
why, but I think this other person like it was kind of sad. She was like really motivated in the class, and she did a great job. Like
Right.
I also sent her like an application to like teach the class, but I think like some stuff happened like towards the end of the semester, and like I know she like took it with
Oh, sure.
she
Yeah.
took it with one of her
Yeah.
friends, and like I asked like, oh, like her friend like, oh, like hey, like where is she like, and he mentioned like I haven't seen her in a while, and I was like, oh my god, I hope she's okay. Um, so that was kind of
Mm-hmm.
sad. And then like I said, like the last one was like
Yeah, yeah.
the last one like same thing, like he was like participated a lot, like had a lot of good points, did perfect on the quizzes. Just didn't show up because it was like his last semester at Carnegie Mellon. So like I guess that makes sense.
Sure.
Like I understand his mentality, but I'm like,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that happened with my person who failed was that, um, so they were a latecomer to the class, like middle of the semester. They wanted to join. We had to like sign paperwork and stuff to get them in this class. Um, and they were they're an international student, so there was kind of like a language barrier, and he was one of the dudes who did the One Piece presentation. The other person, his partner, was also an international student, so it was this whole, I don't know, it was a very bizarre opening to that class. And not only did he make, there were three unexcused absences. Um, we do the quizzes, right? So at the time, at the first semester, um, our system was that all of the quizzes were due on the last day of class. So you can binge the quizzes if you wanted to, or you can do them like one by one.
Mm-hmm.
So he had three unexcused absences, but he emailed me. He was like, "Hey, I really need to pass this class. Can you give me a break?" I said, "I'm really sorry, but you met the three unexcused absences. However, I think we can strike a deal. Just past this threshold that I made. I think it was like
75%?
16 out of 30.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was even less than that at that point. I might be wrong. I don't want to check because I don't really care anymore. But yeah, I had a threshold. And I said, if you meet that threshold, that the standard that I set in the first class, which by the way you're not at because you came in late, I will pass you. If you need help with the questions, since you missed a lot of the classes, you can ask me for help. He did not ask me for help, and he tried all the quizzes anyway. So there were some questions where he literally typed in I don't know. For the Thor question, he wrote Thor mad, Thor sad, Thor glad, which I specifically said not to type. And I had this internal debate. I was like, wow, do I want to fail someone in a Stuco class? But, in the end, after some brief counseling, which took 2 minutes, my friends were like, yeah, I mean, there are rules to this class. There is a syllabus, and this guy did not meet the requirements. Yes, so to my disbelief, I failed someone my first semester teaching Marvel, and yeah, I failed a student. I mean, I as a teacher did not fail the student. The student failed
Himself.
the class. But yeah, and I never saw him again.
You also at the point we're graduating, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That was strange. I mean, my second semester teaching was I had Anthony on as kind of my let's call him a teaching assistant.
TA.
Yeah. So I want to say he took over for a class that I was not in, but it was pretty much the same as the first semester. I think the quality of discussion was excuse me, burped because of the beer, but burped again. But I don't know. No offense to because a lot of my friends were in that class, but it was just kind of the discussions were just kind of I know for that first class we had people who were really engaged because Thomas was one of those people who were really engaged, and he ended up teaching the class in the future. So yeah, that was my experience with Marvel Film Media Studies. I'm interested, Izzy, in what the experience was like for you, election withstanding, sitting in front of Anthony and Thomas. What was that experience like? What did you learn from it? What captivated about it? What captivated you about it to the point that you were like, I gotta teach this shit?
Yeah, so for starters, I guess Marvel had always sort of been some part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple almost 10 episodes ago for AV Marvel, I think Chris linked my review to Infinity War, and it sort of details my start. My dad pulled me into seeing Iron Man 2 in May 2010, and somehow I stuck with the movies ever since. Yep. So Marvel had a little bit of a sentimental value, but I wasn't as quote unquote in aggressively as I am now.
Sure.
But it was definitely just Marvel film sort of journalism, just the film world had always been a big factor in my life, and
right.
even when I'm thinking about like a career, I definitely want to work in like that field. Um, and
Yeah.
when I first started like Stucos, like I thought like, oh my god, this is really cool. It's really interesting. Gotta take one. And so I took Marvel Media Studies. Anthony posted about it in our um my Carnegie Mellon like class Facebook group, and I thought like, oh, this is pretty
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And so took the class. So my first day, it's like me and this start. I mean, our class start like how most Stucos start. Like you have like a big like portion, like a ton of students, and then eventually after a while, like they drop. And I think we ended up like dropping to like one of our smaller classes. We had like 9 students, including myself.
Right.
But it was definitely like. But I think like personally, like we were. I think our class like got like pretty close. It was really entertaining, and it was just really great to just see them like just to see like this like not only like Anthony and Thomas, but just like the other students in my class like week to week. And this day, I'm still pretty good friends with some of them. For example, like this one of the girls I met, we did our sort of Stuco presentation together on Harry Potter. Fun fact: my presentation was 30 minutes. Thomas and Anthony had like a panic attack because we were also teaching Civil War that day. So they were like, "Okay, like let's go. Like you're done. Let's go." And they're like, kind of like, and when I was done, they were like kind of rushing a bit because they were doing like Civil War and like could not predict anything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
I imagine that'll be a long unit.
oh yeah, all the marks.
Yeah.
One of them, and yeah, like, I know like, I know I'm one of the other students in that class. I'm technically working on. I'm technically working with in Scotch and Soda right now. Um, the other student I'm also working with in the same on-campus job. Sorry. And yeah, it was just definitely like this really like interesting like unified experience we almost had because like at that I mean I've seen this like teaching too like after like 15 classes of like just a small group of students it almost becomes like a little club like you eventually like learn like sort of like all their stories like with
Yeah.
this fandom like their views
Yeah.
like everyone's like favorite movie um and you learn a lot more about like the teachers too and like really get involved and really taking the class really just help me to solidify like yes it's like I want to be in this field like I want to be like sort of like in this field like when I
Yeah. Yeah. That's
like
great.
go like in the career um like this is like it helped me sort of guide what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when Thomas emailed me at the end of the semester saying hey do you want to teach I was like a little torn at first because like I mean if you can't tell through this podcast I'm not the best at public speaking although I'm getting a little bit better. I was hesitant about that but I was like you know what like it'll look really cool and it seemed exciting so I was like sure and I didn't realize until I finished the application how badly I wanted this job. um
Oh,
quote
you're
unquote like
hungry.
quote unquote like job I guess like quote unquote like job I don't know. But thankfully, Thomas replied later saying, I'm pleased to
Mm-hmm.
announce that you are now a co teacher. And I'm like,
Wow.
thank God.
S- So he asked
And
you.
yeah, Thomas asked me, he
Okay.
emailed
You
like
didn't. You never like
students.
inquired him like you were never like so. Anyway, are you looking for a new coach? Like, cause did he like choose you out of like a field of people, or there was there like the goddamn like bachelor or something, or like I'm just interested.
Nah, I was just
Maybe he
like,
was asked Tom himself, but
not because like I think Anthony, like I think after Anthony told Thomas like he was not teaching anymore.
yeah.
Thomas like I think Thomas told me a little bit of the process. Like he wanted to pull from someone like in like my class and they
Uh
just like
huh.
emailed anyone who was interested. He emailed people interested who like he thought would like be good teachers.
Yeah.
Um, and then he picked me. And later, and yeah, like the next semester, immediately after I taught the class, I was I guess also his TA. I say that in quotes because I didn't receive
Sure.
credit for teaching that semester. um,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, but yeah, I like learn. I definitely like learned a lot like from Thomas. Just became better at like public speaking, like being more like sure and confident myself, and like just really having the joy like the joy of teaching is definitely not something I didn't expect like going to college, but like I had it, and it was really interesting just to see like the students I had like sort of grow, like just sort of grow like in discussion, like seeing them sort of bond. And that was one of the things I also really liked about the Stuka, was that like over time, like we just become like this community. We had so this class has a Facebook group, specifically for students of the class.
Yeah, the Marvel movie Speculatron like, is what I named it. Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty good. And from there, like we'd like plan like I think like Stuco teachers like would plan like little like field trips. Like we all went to see like we went like Anthony and Thomas planned on seeing Doctor Strange and like invite like Speculatron. They did something for Guardians 2.
Yeah, I want to say
they did something for.
We definitely did a Civil War thing.
Like, for Ragnarok.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was my last semester there, so I was like, yeah, let's end the semester by watching this freaking Civil War movie. Let's see what happens. And I remember when the credits started rolling, everyone sitting around me, they all looked at me. Everyone looked at me when the credits started, and they were like, Chris, what do you think? Like, I was like the freaking, like, deity or something. Yeah, and I was conflicted at the time.
I mean,
so I didn't really answer them right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, how was?
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie.
Remind me, what Thomas was not a teacher during the most recent semester that passed, was he? It was just you and
He was not.
Who was your co-teacher?
Aaron.
Okay.
Aaron. So yeah, right now I have two. Yeah, just to also give like current perspective. Right now I have two co-teachers because we need to talk about Infinity War. We have Aaron, who we are trying to get on the podcast.
What's her last
episode,
name again?
Sooner or later. Beasley.
Aaron Beasley. And Sabrina Clark is joining you next semester, and she was on our Cloak and Dagger hot take. Did a very good job.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring her back again sometime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, she was in the first class I taught, and she was great. And like I knew I really want her to teach this course like some way somehow, and so I'm really glad she was able to. And yeah, like I'm just glad like I've just met these kind of people through Suko, because like I definitely would not have met them like otherwise. Like the most like Sabrina also dances in one of like CMU's like dance companies and dance dance troops, and like I would not have met her like if not for
different social circles, right? Like kind of bring everyone together.
Oh yeah.
You can always tell when you're standing up there at the podium or the whatever the hell that thing is in the front of the classroom with the projector and all that stuff. That freaking thing that no one knows how to control. You touch one thing and it just suddenly breaks the whole system. But you know who those people are in the class, like the ones with the aptitude, the ones who are always saying something every single class. There's always like 3-4 of them maybe, and like in my first class it was definitely like Anthony, Thomas, our mutual friend Dylan, who is a fan of this podcast, by the way. Shout out to Dylan if you're listening to this. You definitely are listening to this, so I'm sure you'd be very excited to hear this.
Hi Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan's
yeah,
good dude.
Right. So I mean, I'm guessing you were one of those students under Anthony and Thomas, like one of those dudes who would just not shut up in class, or I don't know. I mean, did you say you were introverted, or did this like kind of let you let a little loose? You know, if you say you have like you're making progress with public speaking. You know, I'm just wondering how. If you started your evolution like as a student in the class, that's what I'm curious about.
It definitely started like just coming to college. I mean, definitely started just coming to college in general, because I was like super quiet in high school, and I wanted to break free from that. And like orientation helped. The Suko helped a lot. But what I found the most was like what guided me a lot during my freshman fall was that if it's like awkwardly quiet. Like, I have to talk. Like, it's just too awkward for me to handle. Like, I was like in global histories, and it was literally like, that is how me and my other friend, like his name's Rolly, that's how we became friends, because we were the only two people who talked in in our station, because it was just so awkward to let anyone else talking.
Yeah.
And just, I think that mentality, I guess, helped me to grow as a person. And like in public speaking and all that stuff. And yeah. And then also, I mean, also definitely like the chat that we had helped. I think at that time it was like when I first started teaching, it was like Thomas and Izzy's Avengers Infinity Course, because Infinity War was like not out yet.
Yeah. That was fun.
And yeah, it just became like really like this huge like community, and I definitely like also wanted to nourish that as like a Stuco teacher. And I think like it's doing a good job so far.
Yeah. I mentioned this during the Infinity War postmortem, but you know, I've complimented you over and over again, but by how amazingly you organized that Infinity War screening event with all of us, and every time, like just watching you be in charge, I was like, "God, Izzy's a fucking badass. Look at her. Do not cross this bitch." But
do not cross me.
Yeah, or she will cut you. Every once in a while, I will look back at that photo of students and teachers, past and present, of Marvel Film Media Studies. We are standing in front of that cardboard display of Infinity War of all the cast, and I feel like we as a group outnumbered the cast, and we're all posing like I had like an Infinity Gauntlet, and
you're also in the front, obviously.
Yeah, I was kneeling in the front because I am the godfather of this whole operation, of this crime family. And we have all of these people behind us. Some that I know, most that I don't know because they are before my time. And you had there was like a dude dressed up as the Hulk. He was like shirtless and like in green paint.
He was like committed.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, and I look at that picture and I'm like, wow, I basically created this. This is like, we've like built this this community, this healthy community of Marvel fans, and we're just sharing the thing that we love. And we have I don't want to sound too overdramatic, but I felt like it was my mission to awaken them in a way, to be like, hey, these movies are more than just like what they look like from the outside. Like, there is something else going on inside. There are reasons they make these artistic decisions. There are reasons why these executives chose these specific creative people to make these movies. This is the grand plan. This is what these movies are trying to say. And I feel like we're kind of trying to carry that over to AP Marvel in a way. You know, I always kept talking about, I don't know if Anthony and Thomas retained this, but I tried to get us away from the idea of the superhero genre, where I don't want to call it the superhero genre. I want to say like, oh, like Winter Soldier, like, you know, takes all these elements from political thrillers, and yeah, you know, Thor 1 is this Shakespeare romp, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy as a space opera, etc., etc., etc. And you know, I've kind of gone back and forth on the idea of the term superhero genre. You know, Thomas actually asked James Gunn during a live Facebook Q&A, like, hey, what do you think? Do you think there is such thing as the superhero genre? And James Gunn was like, yeah, kind of, in the sense of like that it's like you know, an origin story for a hero, and like that kind of made sense. First of all, I thought that was cool that James Gunn replied to Thomas, who mentioned that he was taught this in a class. But and you know, people would like give me shit during class, be like, oh, okay, so what genre is Thor the Dark World? And then this one shithead who knows me, so he knows I can take the joke, but he raised his hand and it was like, the superheroes genre. I'm like, and god damn you. So kind of trying to pass on the knowledge that these are movies that, yes, they're based on comics, but there is a real love for film. You know, they are inspired not by just the comics, but by film genres, film conventions, film cliches, and tropes. It
And
embraces
just like
those
film in
films.
general
Yeah,
too.
and it like it makes something
Yeah.
unique with that mixture. You can go the Zack Snyder way where he's like kind of obsessed with the imagery of the comics, which isn't necessarily a bad way to go. There's obviously a lot of debate on on the end results of Zack Snyder's work. But Marvel takes a more catch-all approach with it. So I feel that that's kind of our mission with AP Marvel, to kind of pass on that knowledge, that interpretation of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. Not only from the thematic standpoint, but the political, the social issues. Because as we as a society evolve, so will our media. Like if a Luke Cage television series in the 60s and 70s like probably wouldn't be the same as it is in this current decade, with all of these cultural shifts.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my mission statement on AP Marvel. I'm wondering, Izzy, as someone who has been listening to me talk for like now 13 episodes straight, how do you think the podcast is doing so far?
I mean, are you gonna answer me? Like, I guess with like performance and statistics.
I mean, I don't have a clipboard in front of me. I have a beer in front of me. That's all I have. I'm just like wondering, hot take. How do you think AP Marvel's going right now? 13 episodes in. I'm not gonna fire you or anything. I don't. You're not even on a payroll.
Yeah, we do this shit for free. I think like it's just been like I think in general it's been like a new experience to me, like just recording, like being on the internet, as Chris quotes in a tweet, an icon, I guess. And it's been really like all new to me, but I definitely think like that now we start to find our rhythm. Like I will say, in our early episodes, like even if you look back, like when we're on like episode 100 or something, hopefully, like you can look back and you can definitely say like we are definitely still finding our footing, like in these early episodes. And I think definitely I still will for like a long time, just because like I'm just adjusting to being like just public speaking. Like my manager has always said, like public speaking is something you can always improve upon, and so I strive towards that. Like every time, like I have to set goals for myself. But like I don't know. I think the recent, so we filmed like a Cloak and Dagger episode. Yes. Yeah. As of like yesterday, like as of like August 7th, 2018.
Yep.
And I was hosting it. I was like technically hosting it, and I definitely felt a lot more comfortable, a lot more relaxed, and like we had developed like this sort of really rhythm, really. And I can also like recount like just a bunch of like fun memories I've really had like recording these, and it's been really great. Like the Fox episode where it was just, I guess Chris called us the Fab Four. Me,
oh yeah.
Chris, Anthony, and Tom was like, that was one of the more fun episodes I've recorded, just because it was really like I was hosting and like doing like a good question mark job, I guess, but really it was just the four of us like just talking, like really having fun and just really like having a good time.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's been a ride, and it's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I've taken you on as my protege, like trying to teach you the ways of social media and hashtag engaging with the hashtag fans. It's something I'm still figuring out. It's a rough world out there in the internet. And we've had some comments on this podcast, and we've taken them to heart. We've had some people, of course I won't name names like from the people in this show, but like some issues about interrupting and talking over each other, and the first episode had some sound quality issues, like we were just gathered around a mic in the same room, and I was closer to the mic than you two were, so you two were harder to hear, stuff like that. And I've definitely had issues with editing and Marvel News Stats in general. Is we're trying to figure out this storage problem that we have, so it at some point it kind of compromises the the audio quality, but I found a way to kind of compress it, so expect better audio in the future, hopefully. Um, and
Yay!
I don't know, the thing you gotta, I've been like podcasting a lot for the past, I guess like 2 years now, and um, I find it, broadcasting. That's basically what we're doing. We're broadcasting, as to be a comfortable method of, it's basically one-way performance, because you are doing a sort of performance to people, but you don't have the audience in front of you. You're delivering this content. You're like, you're dropping it to them as you pass by. You're not actually performing in front of a stage or anything like that. um so, if you had a video feed of this, and this is something that my sister makes fun of me all the time, you would notice that I'm like doing all these big hand gestures every time I like try to make a point. I'm surprised no one else has made fun of me for that yet. But this is I'm saying this because I've had 2+ years of doing this, and it's been a helpful way of me building up my self-confidence, learning how to speak. I mean, I still say and like and all the time, and I'm trying to kind of get rid of those filler words. So yeah, I just did it again. But it's a process. I credit my high school drama teacher, a gentleman by the name of Matthew Coran. He basically taught me how to speak, because I didn't know how to perform. I didn't know how to project my voice. I didn't know how to fill the space with my words. And there was one time, like, he was just making me just kind of shout into, like, standing on the stage, just shout at the rest of the house. And it was like, I can't hear you, and I just had to keep going louder and louder. And lo and behold, I think a year or two later, I was in my first play, which was a production of 12 Angry Men. That is a hard first show to be in. Not only was I in 12 Angry Men, but I was juror number 4, who was like the brains, the one with the glasses, and has all of these long monologues about evidence and knowledge and all of that. So I had long monologues. And it's 12 Angry Men, so you're on stage the entire time, throughout the entirety of both acts. So that was, man, that was just me throwing myself to the wolves, and I think I did an okay job. I think I watched the tape of that a couple months ago, and I was like, yeah, okay, I didn't suck. And I did a lot of things for the Scott and Soda Theater Troupe. I did act in several bit roles in our gender-bent version of The Outsiders. So that was definitely fun. I have definitely learned. I still need to do work with speaking to large groups. Like when I was production manager of this one show for Scott and Soda, every time I had to lead a meeting, it was a bit mortifying. I was like, everyone's like expecting me to be in charge of this. So there were several times where I tried to like pivot away and be like, okay, now you got something to say, and I didn't have that luxury while teaching a class, because I was, as people joked, I was the professor of Marvel. I think people still make that joke, but it was a thing I loved talking about, and I just, yeah, well, probably, yeah, I guess so, and I just eased into it, and talking about something you love it just gets easier every time you do it, because it's you just you're trying to share it with a larger group of people. You're trying to make people see things in a way that you do. You're not trying to force your opinions on them, but you're trying to tell them, hey, open up your mind a little bit. There's a little more to this than you think. And I don't know. I am just really happy seeing that this is still going on. The fact that you and Aaron and Sabrina, like, you're people that I didn't even know. Like, you and Aaron, like, didn't even overlap with me at all. And the fact that there are people who will be teaching the class that were not even students when I was teaching it. That is a legacy right there, and I think that's kind of amazing. And I'm still trying to do the same thing, just through a different format. And Izzy, I am so glad that I have you and Anthony on board, because you guys, in your own unique ways, are rock stars. Anthony is, I think we gotta calm him down a little bit sometimes. But if he were not calm, he would not be Anthony. And if he weren't Anthony, he would not be on the show. Yeah. So anyway, that was sappy and disgusting, but
it was a good way to. If you're ending the episode, it's a good way to end it.
Yeah, I mean we're like reaching an hour now, and I'm actually almost done with this beer, with this fat tire that I've been drinking.
Yeah, I guess to give like my own sentimental 2 cents, like.
Yeah, nice. Please go ahead.
I guess like to give my own sentimental 2 cents. I might have said this at the beginning of the show, but like first, I guess in a weird way, like teaching classes giving me like some kind of purpose. Like, I think I saw this meme, like, I think either like the other day, it was like how, do you ever think like if you hadn't like done this one thing or met this like one person, then your life would like be completely different. And I guess I'll give you a fun fact. I almost dropped the Suko. I was just having a really bad day, and I was having a really bad day like in class. Like I think like I was having a really bad day like that week. I just failed a test. Like, and I was like, you know what? Like this is not like at this point this class was like 2 hours long. For Chris, I think it was probably still like an hour and a half. Just to show you how far we've come.
How many movies they made. Oh my
god, like dear Jesus. Dear Jesus. But like yeah, like I was like just not in a good mood. I was like, you know what? Like I mean you should just not go to class. Maybe I should just like drop it and stuff. And then I was like, you know what? Like the people there like always like, are good, like are always like help you have like a good time. So like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go. Like I'll just go. That was a class where we taught Iron Man 3 and Thor: Dark World, and I think it was the most fun class I'd had at that point all semester, and that just completely changed my worldview.
Right.
And like just if you think about it, like my life, and I'm just super super grateful. I see that like I guess like at this point like now XCon as like a little bit of a family, and I'm really glad I got to help sort of take this Stuco in like a new direction that helped like it develop the community a lot more. And I'm also really glad that I'm seeing it live on like through the podcast. I definitely feel like it's in a way we also talk in a way like on AP Marvel we talk about things that we can't really do in the class, especially with like the amount of content. Like just to give a sneak preview, Phase 1 is a day. Marvel TV is just one day, and we really
oh my god,
and we focus more on like specific like sort of themes and like motifs, I guess, of like Marvel TV with other shows to highlight it, like with S.H.I.E.L.D. talking about Marvel's first show, and then the Netflix shows with their maturity, and then just any of Scott Buck's Marvel shows to just show Marvel's first actual failure.
Yeah, where things can go wrong. Some cautionary tales from the MCU.
Yeah, and yeah, as I said, it's August 7th. That means the semester hasn't started yet, but I'm really optimistic to see how it goes, and just in general for everything that it has to offer. Yeah, and just I guess also to add on like to that little trip that we've mentioned, like within like all the little Stuco trips like that the teachers help plan. When the Infinity War, because I have like that same thing too. I'll look back like on like either the picture of like the 5 of us at Purgatory, or the 5 like or it was all of us like after Infinity War, and I have that same feeling like where would I have been without this class? Like what I guess motivation would I have had? And I think about like yeah, like maybe I'm not the one who started this like Chris, but like I really helped like to found it, and like I also somehow planned this event. And it was really great to see, and I can't wait until Avengers 4 comes out, and we have something hopefully even bigger and better. And y'all better come back.
Oh my god. Okay.
If you're Thomas or Anthony or Chris, who's here right now, and you're listening to this, you better fucking come back.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'll mark that on my calendar, but I don't know what my life will be in May. But I would love, for round 2 of
Nice.
of this little shindig.
Yeah. Oh, I'll remind the 3 of you, like, absolutely. Like, 100%. I will remind you guys.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
like, hey!
we can't escape you. Like, there's no way, so...
No.
Izzy, thank you for recording this with me tonight.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, I guess just some logistical things. This is the last time we'll have you for roughly like a month in real time. So the thing is that we recorded this on August 7th. I do not know how many episodes we will record for the rest of August. It could be 2 episodes, it could be 5 episodes, it could be 20 episodes for all we know. So Izzy's absence, I could not tell you how many episodes that will be. And it'll be weird, like maybe by the time you're listening to this, like I forget what day this is airing. I have it written down somewhere. But maybe she'll already be back with us by the time this is already up the air.
I'll be back, but like we have to get to, like, I guess you guys have to get through like all the other episodes, like sans me, and so it's like a delayed, like, I don't know, a delayed like absence or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of
we
funny.
have episodes planned like throughout my absence.
Yeah, we have by the time this is up, we will have our Cloak and Dagger hot take. We'll have our episode of Rhiannon where we talk about ethics, and our episode with Caleb where we talk about Catholicism. Those are not up as we're recording this, but they will be by the time this goes up. And we have a ton of ideas that we're working on. We have several really cool guests lined up. So I guess we can run down what those ideas are just as a little preview of what might come. These are still like kind of in the pre-production stages, but I got several episodes lined up. I have a buddy of mine named Dave Harris. We wanted to talk about romance in the MCU, which would be really fun. The tentative title of the episode is Love and Sex in Marvel, which I think is amazing. I got my friend Betsy. She is a science writer, and she wants to talk about the science in the MCU. She was one of I didn't mention her by name during the Ant-Man and the Wasp hot take, but she was one of the people I watched it with, and boy, did she have some thoughts about the science of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I got a buddy named Nat. We are going to talk about LGBTQ plus representation in the MCU. The tentative title of the episode is "Where Are the Gays?" Where are they?
Where are they? The gays.
Yeah, so where
are they?
we got to do some research for that. We're gonna go on this whole spiel about why representation is important, because there are some people who haven't gotten it through their thick skulls yet. And I have my buddy Rika. We have 2 ideas. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to talk about. I guess I'll mention them both, but we wanted to do one episode where we just glow about Loki, and another episode where we just glow about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But we'll try to get both those episodes out at some point. I've also been talking to Sam Reardon, who was on our Infinity War episode, about talking about the Hulk, since Sam loves monster fiction and loves monsters. Izzy, did you have any ideas on your end?
Yeah, we were talking about potentially bringing Sabrina back for a Black Panther episode. I may not be there. Who knows?
We'll see.
And I also really want to get Aaron on the podcast. I guess I used to. I want to get Aaron on the podcast. I used to refer to I guess the Stuco teachers as like this huge, big, little lineage. If we were, I guess, part of a fraternity, and so technically Erin is one of my littles, and I really want to get her on the podcast.
Right.
And so she really loves Thor, and so hopefully we're gonna talk about hopefully we talk about like the evolution of Thor throughout his 3 movies. Since they've all had like really
I
different
mean, Thor
characteristics,
mad,
but
Thor
that
sad,
means
Thor
like
glad, right? That's the evolution.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, if you don't mention that during the Thor podcast, I will like rise up from wherever I am and like scold y'all.
There will be someone in that
and
episode
then
who will bring that up.
oh, actually, probably Aaron will bring it up.
Probably,
and
sure.
finally, I still need to ask her, but we have I'm thinking of asking one of my friends that I met at BookCon. She has a book. Yeah, so I should probably ask her after after we record.
Yeah,
this.
don't mention their name until you ask. But
yeah.
Yeah.
But we were thinking about discussing the MCU fandom in general. Just fandom in general has been a topic that I'm super interested in and like really want to discover. And really, we're just talking about sort of the MCU fandom, and its intersectionality, looking at other fandoms and just fandom culture as a whole, and seeing how I guess the MCU fandom stacks up, especially at this point with like the James Gunn scandal. It's going to be really interesting to talk about and analyze. So that'll be a doozy, and I'm definitely probably going to work on it also, like while I am out of commission.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'll be a super meta episode, really. Anthony has his own ideas. He wants to talk about the datification of the MCU. His whole spiel is that Phase 3 is all about disappointing fathers, disappointing mentors. No guest set for that yet, but we're going to ask around some people. And he also has his idea that we kind of hinted on during the Cloak and Dagger hot take. He wants to talk about how the children are the future of the MCU. The children, like what's going to happen when all the adults are gone. When we move on from many of the MCU people. So, and we got the Power Pack, the Future Foundation, all these younger characters brimming with potential. Again, no guest set for that yet, but it might just be the 3 of us for all I know. So yeah, we have a lot of ideas. I might regret putting those out there since who knows, it could be possible one of these will be canceled. I mean, the cursed episode we were talking about was I said I wouldn't talk about it, but I'll mention it now. It was gonna be the
already mentioned it.
I don't think
you also already mentioned the post credit.
I probably did.
I did the
oh my god, I remember.
But like,
yeah. Anyway,
it's too late.
That's so funny. But it's basically the history of the post-credits scene and tracking where do post-credit scenes in film come in the first place, what is their function, and are they, do they at all detract from the narrative of movies? Because there is an argument that they do. So, yeah, well, I guess one day we'll try our 4th attempt at recording that episode. Hopefully that'll work out for real, because I think, there's some interesting stuff in there. I don't think it's as interesting as the other topics I just mentioned, but I think that will be a cool episode to do. So yeah, you can follow me at Compenderizer. Izzy, where can people find you on Twitter? Where can they find you being an icon?
You can find me. Oh, God. You can find me at Delirlin. I also write for the Tartan now. I also write for the Tartan now for at least until December. And so that is at, I think it's at tartan.org. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at tartan.org if you want to look at my stuff. And yeah, I'm trying to write more for Marvel News X, so you can always like check that out. That James Gunn article I wrote is apparently now one of the most viewed articles on the site, so thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty hot topic.
Yeah, that's inevitable.
Let's see what else. We got the Patreon as I always mention. Please give us money if you want to hear more content, if you want to help us with our storage space. And again, thanks to Steve Molitor for that amazing jazz track that we play at the beginning and end of every episode. I'm trying to get him to, I think he's working on a SoundCloud page, so I would really love to plug that whenever that's ready. But besides that, I guess, Izzy, we will say adieu for now. Best of luck as you begin your junior year of college. That for me personally, that was a crazy year. Like, that's when I started to get embroiled in like scotch and soda stuff, and that's when my life just totally changed from there.
That was last year for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It comes differently for everyone else, but I think you have a pretty good foundation. That I think will take you through the next 2 years. 2 more years, right? You're not gonna
Yeah.
2 years planned. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna be doing some fun stuff with the kiddos in orientation.
Yes, I will.
And then
Watch
the
out,
children
world.
are the future. You're gonna be teaching them about Marvel. You and Sabrina and Aaron, a trio this time, not a duo, but a trio.
Yes, because Infinity War is fucking huge.
Yeah.
If you are a Carnegie Mellon student and you want to register, the course number is 98275. I had to plug that in there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry.
put this episode on the class Facebook groups when you're. Registration will already be over by then. But if any late dudes want to join, that would be pretty funny. I can't wait until this election happens during your class, assuming you're still on Tuesday.
Dear Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, we're still on Tuesday.
These all-important midterms, that'll be great. I will expect an update from you soon on the tone of the room.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it
Dear
for
Lord.
Marvel. Episode 13, as we continue to contemplate the dark political future of the United States of America. We will leave you with Steve Ballatour's Jazz Vengers track. Good night, or good morning, or good day, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.